Hey, Attorney Montgomery again. And I told y'all yesterday, for her to file and seek sole custody, I told you it was because he had done something, acted erratically, irrationally, either in the presence of the child, either while holding the child, in a manner that was threatening. And now we have a better understanding. This man is abusive, has been abusive to her, and she's been covering and in an unfortunate situation. And now she's had a kid with this guy. So she has indeed been granted the restraining order, and she has been granted temporary sole custody of the minor child. The evidence indicates that she had video of what he did, which made it very easy for the judge to grant the restraining order and sole custody. Now, if you don't know who I am, I'm Attorney Montgomery. I practice family and immigration law in Atlanta, Georgia. And just so that you guys understand, a temporary restraining order is only good for 30 days. That means that the parties are going to have to go back to court in 30 days, and they're going to have to present their case. And that is where she's going to present her testimony and her evidence to show why the restraining order should be extended, why she should continue to have sole custody, and that he should have no rights and no visitation. In addition to this temporary restraining order being in place, he has been ordered to turn in his firearm to the police department. So we're not sure if threats were made with the gun, but in all temporary restraining orders, there is a requirement that the party has to turn in all weapons that they could potentially have or own or are registered to them. So that's why that is in the order. That is required. That is across the board. Doesn't matter what state you live in, that is a requirement when someone has filed a temporary restraining order against you. And so it looks like Mr. Darius is in a bit of a pickle. It appears that he has a little bit of a temper. We understand that he has, those fast fingers making statements that were unnecessary on Twitter and social media. And here we are. Now he cannot have any access to his minor child. And again, that's temporary, just so that you know. What will now happen is that there will be a 30-day hearing. They will determine if they need to extend the restraining order to a year. It's usually a year. After a year, she can go back and say, I want it extended even further, 3 years, or permanently, depending on how he acts in the next 12 months, if indeed the restraining order is extended past the 30 days. That's one case. And then there's going to be an actual custody case, right? Because the question is, maybe he was aggressive with her, but that does not necessarily mean that he is aggressive with the baby or abused or has mistreated the baby. And the position is that a child should be able to have both parents in their lives. But if there is a history and a pattern of abuse and mistreatment to her and the child, then yes, she could get permanent sole custody of the child and would have all decision-making rights to the child, and he would not have any. So this is a sad, sad state of affairs. It is a very unfortunate situation for all the parties involved, but most importantly, the child. But the standard that the courts use is indeed the best interest of the child, and so we'll see what happens here on out. But it's very hard to get sole custody when both parents are alive and well. But if he has a history and a pattern of abuse and violence, then yeah, she could get sole custody. And if she does get sole custody, then she doesn't owe him anything, doesn't have to pay him anything. But if they go through the custody case and the courts determine that they can have joint legal custody, and they can split custody, physical custody, then she'll probably end up having to pay him child support, and a hefty sum, because she's done very well for herself. Very unfortunate situation across the board for all the parties involved. I'll keep you guys posted.